The Rewatchables, brought to you by the Ringer Podcast Network. You find The Big Picture with Sean Fennessey. You can find The Watch.
Yep.
With CR, back from the Pacific Northwest.
Here I am. Bigfoot's
Flew
return.
in to do a little Jaws too. Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water. Genius tagline. We're going to take a break. Jaws 2 next.
The legend continues, but no one sees it.
Chief Brody.
The legend continues, but no one believes it.
That's a shark. And I know what a shark looks like because I've seen one up close. And you better do something about this one because I don't intend to go through that hell again.
The legend continues.
Harry!
The all-new Jaws 2.
This episode of The Rewatchable is presented by Holiday Inn by IHG. It's a new day for a new stay at Holiday Inn for business travelers. Do you count as a business traveler, Sean?
Sure, sometimes.
Okay. With modern spaces for meeting and working, plus delicious dining from breakfast to happy hour. Do you eat breakfast, Sean?
I do. I had an apple and a breakfast bar this morning.
Oh, interesting. I don't need any breakfast, but I do love happy hour and dinner. They have that too. You have everything you need to get your work done. Give your everyday business travel an upgrade. Book your next business trip at Holiday Inn by IHG. Visit holidayinn.com to book your stay. Jaws 2. Circling this for a while. I, for some reason, own this as a 4K Blu-ray.
Nice.
I love this movie. The first hour is pretty rough. It's slow. I'd use the word slow.
Yep.
And
Meditative.
And then it becomes amazing. I think we did Die Hard with a Vengeance a couple weeks ago. If you took the first 80 minutes of Die Hard with a Vengeance and then merged it into the last 45 minutes of
It's the
Jaws
best
2.
movie ever
That'd be
made.
a really
best summer movie
confusing
of all
film.
time.
Yeah,
That would
if
be-
they go out to Far Rockaway and there's shark attacks happening, and that's the final Simon
Put that
Says.
sandwich board on that shark. See what happens in Harlem. You know, that could be a problem. That'd be quite a scene.
That's a way to connect it to New York Month.
This movie ultimately gets there as a sequel. I really
Yeah.
fully, completely support the last 45
There's
minutes.
just some awesome shark kills, and that's kind of all
Yeah.
you need. The shark kills are fucking awesome in this movie.
There's a couple. Whoa! I can't believe they did that.
Yeah,
Murders.
and they're
Like,
hanging
flat
out
out murders.
In the background, Dazed and Confused is happening.
Yes.
So good. I think it's 4 movies. This is what I wrote down. It's a slasher teen movie. It's a PTSD damaged hero movie.
Mhm.
It's a late 70s teenage beach hangout sailing movie. And then it's a shark movie.
Yeah.
What's your favorite out of those 4?
I think probably the slasher monster movie side of it. Like the idea that this shark is just marauding around and thinking of new creative ways to kill teenagers.
It's basically Myers.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, just 3 months before Michael Myers, right? This is the true forerunner to what horror movies would be for the next 10 years. It kind of invents it.
There's a little
Horny
bit of a,
teenagers in peril.
yeah. There's a little bit of a detective movie too, because for about 40 minutes, Brody's like, what could be causing these weird disappearances in the water? I have a bad feeling about this, but developing the film, all the stuff that he has to do.
Yeah.
I have a 5th movie
little
that
slow.
it is. It's also, I think, a Sorkin-esque portrait of a local politician having a breakdown. Whatever is going on with the mayor in this movie, I'd like to spend an hour on.
Well, I have a spot later in the pod. So you think this created the West Wing?
It feels like
Yeah.
it, like a man who has to go before the public and continue to deny the truth
Yes.
every day of his life.
Who's turned over the keys to Amity to real estate developers somehow. Yeah.
He's grooming his son, Larry Vaughn Jr.
Hey, Larry, meet my son, Larry.
Larry Jr. Do you want to do? We probably did this in the first Jaws movie, but the Amity, Cape Cod, Long Island, whatever's going on
I
here.
mean, shot in the vineyard, right? But I guess it's supposed to be Long Island. Isn't that the idea?
but then mostly shot in Florida.
Yes.
It's trying to do a whole bunch of things.
Yeah, it's a familiar milieu.
Yeah.
My dad lived on the beach when I was a kid, and so I was always going to these communities.
But he was not a beach cop. Did he ever have any aspirations or ambitions to become a Martin Brody-esque
Seems
figure?
like a great job.
Well, I have some questions about that actually regarding what Brody's been up to in the 3 years since the original shark attack and
Since
why
he was
he's
the man of the year in Amity.
Yeah, it sounds like doesn't he make a reference to like 4 things happen a year? It's like I make 4 arrests a year or something like that.
Yeah, man, I have so much to say about this, but like Brody was afraid of the water.
Yeah.
And then he had the most traumatic experience you could ever have on the water. And then he's like, I think I'll stay near the water. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Quit this
I'm
job,
gonna drive
man.
my Jeep right on the beach.
Yeah.
Just like move to Glen Cove or something. You don't have to be in a beach town. It's okay.
Right. Well, it's like what we talked about with Die Hard with a Vengeance. Also, killing the shark probably sets up some amazing side career for him, like where he could write a book and
he
go
could,
on talk shows, do Dick Cavett.
like a harpoon sponsorship or something.
I have
you
to
know?
start asking hard questions about whether Brody was participating in a slush fund scheme with Mayor Larry.
It's true.
You know, whether he was
You want to do
skimming
this now?
getting a little wetting his beak a little
You
bit.
think there's some beak wetting?
Something is fishy.
You think Ellen Brody's really bringing in the money, being like the town salesman for that real estate developer?
Well, there's some, I guess, a deleted scene that insinuates that Brody gets. I decided not to watch the deleted scenes because 2 hours plus of Jaws 2 was enough. Plus, I watched the entire making of documentary, which I'm excited to talk about. But apparently, they hint at some Brody's wife with the boss, like some sort of like romantic maybe. Yeah. That Brody gets bent out of shape about, and they smartly took that out of the movie because that would have been idiotic.
Can't disrespect Martin Brody like that.
Well, is the implication that, you know, if Ellen is polishing Len's knob, then she's getting like a Christmas bonus? Like, what's happening? Like, what's the quid pro quo there? He's the chief of police.
It would have been better if Martin was boring the shit out of her, telling old war stories about fighting Jaws with Hooper and just being like, man, remember that time in 74 when I killed that fucking shark? She's just like, all right, we can move on from this, you know?
Why does Ellen even need a job as a glorified secretary for Len? You know, like this doesn't...
She's a career woman. It's the late 70s. Women are in the workplace. What the fuck is wrong with you?
That's
Were they in the workplace?
It doesn't really seem like it. Yeah, this guy's like wandering around the beach in a 4-piece suit.
They're not doing any parenting, so they have plenty of time to dedicate to their professions.
Well, I mean, the bigger question, Martin Brody, good hang?
My kind of hang.
Yeah, 3 cigarettes before
Shows
breakfast.
home that it's like you're not sure how drunk he is when dad gets home.
Yeah.
Is dad really drunk or kind of drunk? Oh, the car's sideways in the garage.
Scheider is just the shade of an heirloom tomato the whole movie. It's incredible.
Well, there's great research about how he kind of didn't want to be in the movie.
Kind of.
Yeah, which we'll get to. But apparently he was surly for like the first half of the filming, basically, which I thought was hilarious.
It fits the character very well.
Yeah, you can kind of feel it in some of the scenes where he's just like, put the cue card right there so I can fucking see it. Let's get this done.
He's still Roy Scheider, though. I mean, honestly, it's like whether he's reading off cue cards, whether or not he hated being there, like there's a couple of scenes in there where you're just like, this guy's the fucking best.
Well, we do this every time we do Scheider, but we got to go through his 70s. Clute, French Connection, Jaws, Marathon Man, Sorcerer, Jaws 2, all that jazz. Just ripping them off.
Sneaky Scheider month here on the show.
It is a sneaky Scheider. We could do all that jazz next.
It's the summer of Scheider.
We're Scheider July.
Scheider.
Sounds good.
Well, we've already done the good Scheiders.
What are we doing Blue Thunder? You know?
Well, we have Sorcerers still lingering.
Sorcerer and all that jazz.
Just came out on Blu-ray.
Yeah, it did.
Did you get that one?
I certainly did.
How was it?
It's really good. I'm featured on it. I don't know if you know that.
What do you mean?
I interviewed James Gray on that Blu-ray talking about Sorcerer.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. That's really exciting.
It really is.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, it was very cool. It was very fun to do.
Got to get it now.
Yeah.
I saw the Criterion Collection was on sale for 50% off.
Barnes and Noble.
It's a great time for sales right now out there.
It really is. I'm trying. All that jazz is also in the Criterion Collection, right?
Copped it already.
Yeah.
Sierra loves that one. Yeah. Who was supposed to be in all that jazz? Oh, Dreyfuss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Dreyfuss isn't in this movie.
There's a lot of swapping of
Yeah.
great big movies and great big parts. I can't wait to talk about that.
Well, sequels. Let's dive into this because Damien Omen 2.
Mm-hmm.
Good movie.
Just got stretched by the Bucks.
You always say it like there's not a colon in the title.
Damien Omen 2.
That's it.
I call it Damien Omen 2.
Yeah. That's you should.
Damien, was his last name Omen or was it a different last name?
Oh, it's not Omen.
No, it's Omen. It's Omen.
His father, Bob Omen. Damien Omen 2.
Bob Omen the first.
And Jaws 2, both June 1978. So why is this important? Well, we're starting a sequel boom.
Mm.
They didn't really do sequels. They did Bond sequels. They did those weird airport movies that they would put the year of the whatever.
77.
after.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood's Westerns were sort of sequels. If you go back to the 20s, 30s, 40s, they loved doing sequels. Then it kind of died off. 1977.
I see you just threw a little chum in the water for Rosillo talking 40s.
Right. Well, we know.
Get Rosillo on a thin man cod.
I'm desperate. He said he wanted it to be the three of us, but I need you and Ryan looking each other in the eye doing Casablanca for 2 hours. I need it. I need it more than I need anything in the world.
All right, we'll do it this
Seriously,
summer.
I would retire from the Rewatchables if you guys did that. It would be like we've completed the mission.
77 has Exorcist 2, Bad News Bears, and Breaking Training, a phenomenal movie. And Airport 77. 78 has Jaws 2, Omen 2, Bad News Bears 3, Go to Japan. We don't acknowledge that
Also,
movie.
Revenge of the Pink Panther, one of the biggest
Oh,
movies
you're right.
of the year.
Well, but there was a bunch of Big
sequels.
Panthers.
Yeah, they had sequels.
79 has Rocky 2, which becomes as big of a phenomenon as Jaws 2. And we also get Airport 79, Butch and Sundance prequel, and more American Graffiti. And then 80 has Empire Strikes Back, Smokey and the Bandit 2. So these are top 10 movies that are sequels. And then you can just see how it changes, where Superman 2, Halloween 2, Friday the 13th 2. In 1982, here are all the sequels. Rocky 3, Star Trek 2, Friday the 13th 3, Airplane 2, Halloween 3, Death Wish 2, Grease 2, Amityville 2, and Penitentiary 2. If you just go by the year, there's just normal movie titles. Like you look at like 1975 and it's just movie titles. And then you get to like the 80s.
It's twos.
You see two sequels, whatever, and then it just changes.
Do you find it comforting or alarming that for your entire life, like that's been the case? Like, because in some ways it should give us a little bit of peace when it's like, oh, there's nothing original anymore. But
I don't think there's anything that is inherently bad about a sequel.
Sure.
I think, The Empire Strikes Back is remarkable. Like, it's one of the best movies ever. Godfather 2 is one of the best movies ever. I do think that there's a consistency in the ones that you talked about from 77 through 80, where the number twos are basically the same as the first film, but worse.
And money grabs.
And they're only made for money.
Yeah.
But like the structure of the movie is usually the same. The director is usually a little less good than the director of the original.
There's usually at least one star missing.
Somebody doesn't show up. The lead is usually a little bit more like begrudging about having to do the movie. They don't feel as happy about it.
yeah,
So it's just not as
there's a lot
special.
more hand-wringing in the stories about the making of these movies. There's a lot more hand-wringing about like we were waiting for a script that honored the first one or that could live up to the first one. We don't have that problem anymore.
Yeah.
Like we're like, we
Then
just need to
halfway-
get these going,
And halfway through the movie, they're like, yeah, just have him shoot the blue fish and let's get to the next scene.
Ana de Armas is the ballerina and she is John Wick. Like, let's not worry about this too much.
Yeah.
But it was fascinating to see that the Jaws producers basically did this because they were like, this is going to happen anyway. So better to be involved and try and make it, on the level of the first one.
Yeah, somebody's doing a shark movie if we don't.
That's what David Brown said. Do you believe that? Or do you believe that was a way to mask?
I believe
it at all.
Universal would make another Jaws movie, don't you? I mean, it's like a groundbreaking box office success in that way.
Yeah, it's possible.
I just think
It's
we've talked about this a bunch of times this year, especially with the Star Wars pod. I just think this is right around when movies change. And they look at a movie like Jaws or Star Wars and they're just like, let's run that back. Let's do that again. I saw Jaws 2 in the theater. There was another one at the Cleveland Circle Theater.
There you go.
My dad took me. I was the exact same age, I think, as little Sean and super scared the last hour of the movie, like really genuinely scared. I vividly remember the helicopter thing being like, that was like one of the craziest things I've seen in a movie theater.
still really effective.
It's really great.
There's
And
still
the
a few
whole-
things in this that are really good.
And then fucking Marge just getting swallowed up by Jaws Jr.
Best kill in the movie. Best kill in the movie.
I may have a contender for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also a holy shit.
I've never seen that shot from behind.
Yeah. And it's a great invention because you don't have to show her getting quinted. She just disappears.
Right.
Yeah, well, it seemed like they were really worried about the R. So they had a couple of crunching down things that they ended up cutting out. But this was a moment when this came out and this movie did really, really well. And I think it's one of the reasons we started getting more sequels. This movie fucking killed it at the box office.
And
It
it kind of
didn't matter if it wasn't as good.
and it kind of got killed critically, right? Like it was not well reviewed at all.
It was not.
It didn't matter at all.
But also then became a absolute staple of early HBO. I remember this being on a ton when I was a kid.
Yeah.
All the Jaws sequels were, but it's been in a weird way. Like I wonder sometimes if I've seen Jaws 2 more than Jaws, just cumulatively, because every time I watch Jaws, I make a big like thing out of it.
Yeah.
And with this, it's like, oh yeah, the water skiing. Like I'll sit down for this,
It's from we always talk about why we created the pod. This is a classic Oh, they're going sailing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Eddie's about to get it. Eddie's about to die. I'm going to stick around for another 40 here.
Yeah.
Poor Eddie. All you want to do is play the guitar on the beach and get laid.
Come on, Tina. Just don't make it so tough on a guy, you know?
I get the impression that he kind of put a lot of numbers up with
Eddie?
Tina in the first place. Like maybe he lived a good life.
Oh,
you know?
I feel like Tina was undiagnosed ADHD and kept being like, is that a parasailer? I gotta get out of here, you know?
What was she saying about she needed a blanket because her mom noticed the black and blue bruises?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 'cause they
were knocking it out on the boat.
No,
You know,
I get
also,
it. It's
American
just like-
cars in the 70s, a lot of sharp edges, you know?
What were her parents inspect her when she got home? Like,
Yeah.
that was so weird.
Time for your ass inspection, Tina.
Yeah,
You've been out
Tina.
with Eddie all
What's
night.
that bruise? on
Tina
your
got
hip?
bruised. Oh, I was balling Eddie in the back of the
Yeah.
station wagon.
Also, fucking on a boat and that boat that size, not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wish we had gotten to see it.
Eddie's got to be a very tender lover. Well, he was a guitar player.
What do you think their favorite position was?
I'd first probably very
Yeah,
careful.
flamenco.
Yeah.
Careful lover. That Eddie. Well, by the time we got to 1983, here were the sequels: Return of the Jedi, Superman 3, awful; Jaws 3, horrible; Psycho 2, horrific; Porky's 2, a disgrace; The Sting 2, never happened; and Smokey and the Bandit 3. We literally went 0 for
Do you like Smokey
7.
3? You didn't put a little review on the end
I'm
of
not
it.
positive Burt Reynolds is in it.
I kind of like Psycho too. I'm just going to put that out there.
Really?
Yeah, I think there is a cult to that movie now.
What?
Yeah, it's like a late stage Anthony Perkins appreciation. Interesting. I forget the director's name. Australian guy who made Patrick and Road Games. Couple like gnarly. I think there's like some good kills in it. I like Psycho too.
Porky's 2, saw that in the theater. Has some of the worst sports scene footage in the history
What do they
of
play?
cinema.
I don't even know if I've seen
Basketball.
Porky's 2.
And
Okay.
Meat, the he's like a power forward.
I'll bet.
Remember Meat? Meat's
Yeah.
35 in real life at this point, playing power forward in the high school team, and does not know how to play basketball. And if there's video of it, we could easily cut this into a social clip. Like he is. I had never probably touched any sort of sports object before this movie, and it's just running around. Even the fat kid in Teen Wolf was better. Chubby at least looked like he had a little bit of an Oliver Miller type.
Was there
of
a
game.
team? There was a Teen Wolf too, wasn't there?
Oh,
There was.
Yeah, Jason Bateman.
TOO.
Oh, right. So I wanted to
Before he
ask.
became Jason Batman,
That's
or
right.
whatever that ad is. Yeah.
In the Ryan household, I
Yeah.
will say, weirdly, maybe uniquely, Jaws: The Revenge is our
Is
favorite.
that the fourth one?
sequel? Yeah.
That's Michael Caine.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Mario Van Peebles.
Yes. Yes, it is. That's the
No, if
Jamaican one.
I don't know if I played
You know what
that
happens
one
in
more than once. What happens?
Sean he's like a harbor master, and he gets killed by a shark outside of Amity.
It is the revenge.
Sean Brody?
Yeah.
It is the revenge on Martin Brody.
Yes.
That is why it's
Brody's
like
passed away from a heart attack. Surprise, surprise.
4 packs a day cigarettes. Finally got him.
And then Sean is like following in his father's footsteps, gets his arm bitten off and dragged out to the water. Ellen freaks out. Michael comes from his job in the Bahamas and is like, Ellen, you got to come down to the Bahamas with me. You got to soothe your soul. She meets, I can't remember what Michael Caine's character's name. It's like Wogie or something like that.
Hoagie Newcomb.
Hoagie Newcomb, played by Michael Caine. And then I think Mario Van Peebles is like a dive master there.
Yep.
And then
Say no more. I'll dial it up on Tubi tonight.
they do battle with the shark. It's pretty awesome.
3 is the water park.
Yes.
That was
Gossett.
3D though.
SeaWorld. Yeah.
It's
That
Gossett
was
and
during the
Quaid.
weird 3D era.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Quaid.
It's
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Yeah. All those 3D movies, they didn't really know they
That
were
was
doing.
a sterling defense of Jaws: The Revenge, but it's very bad,
like
as I
it.
recall.
I've only seen those one each. Well, Lorraine Gary's in all 4,
Yes.
right?
She is.
Yes.
Which is hilarious because she was married to
Sid Sheinberg.
the head of
Sheinberg.
Universal.
Yes.
And if you look at her IMDb, I think we did this when we did Jaws, but she's basically a TV actress in a couple things, and then ends up in Spielberg's Jaws as like the wife of the hero.
That being said, I kind of like her.
She's fine.
I said this on the Jaws pod. I think she's really good in Jaws, the first Jaws. I'm a little confused about her career path in Jaws 2. And then by Jaws 4, she's like one
A
of the
traumatized
heroes.
woman. Yeah,
she's
she is
like
the
a
hero of Jaws
65-year-old
4.
hero.
Yeah.
So that's a little questionable.
So you don't think the Lakers should have drafted her in the second round?
Can she finish lobs? We don't know.
Yeah, so she's the only thread for the 4.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they decided to do the sequel late in 75. Spielberg said no. Thanks anyway. There was some writer they brought in and wanted to do a prequel about Quint's story about the U.S.
No,
Indianapolis.
this is, you got to slow down here.
Yeah,
This was
I wanted to just clear the floor for
the
Seahor.
original, like, sort of creative team of Jaws when they were like, we got to do a sequel. And I think even there's some reporting that Spielberg was like, that's actually a cool idea, or maybe that was his idea, but Carl Gottlieb was writing it or something, was the Quint prequel, the USS Indianapolis prequel that he tells the story of in Jaws.
I'm in.
And I'm fucking in. And I think we may have talked about this on the Jaws pod, but like, if Jaws had just been an anthology series about shark attacks in different parts of the world, or in some connective tissue with the characters, it would have been like the greatest franchise ever. And I bet Spielberg would have been interested enough to come back if it wasn't like Martin Brody does Battle with the Shark again.
Well, they've ripped this. I mean, Open Water. Remember that one?
Yeah, of course.
The
There's
Blake
3 of
Lively
them.
movie.
Shallows.
They make Deep Blue Sea. Like, they just keep making shark. They've been making them for 50 years.
But there was also a wave in the immediate aftermath of this movie of sea creature related movies. Like, you also had Orca immediately after this. You had Crocodile. You had Alligator. You had
Piranha.
Or Eaten Alive is the Crocodile movie. And then you had Alligator. You had Piranha, the Joe Dante movie. Like, there was a wave of literally
Piranha's
a wave
a
of
good
movies
idea.
like this.
I don't mind the Piranha
Piranha's
movie.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Tough way to go.
Is it true that is it
Shark or
disinfo about
piranha?
piranhas? Are they actually not that dangerous?
Shark or piranha, sheesh.
No,
Well,
I think if there's a lot of piranha, your body disappears.
You just get shredded?
Yeah. It's like a water cremation.
I think I'll go.
I feel like you got a better chance against a shark, weirdly.
I mean, I feel like I've
Punch
watched
'em.
more shark movies than piranha movies, so I have some ideas about how to combat shark
what movie
attacks.
did I just watch where somebody punches a shark and it works? This just happened in a movie.
Dangerous Animals.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yes. You know about Dangerous Animals is out right now. Jai Courtney.
Yeah.
He plays a crazed Australian boat captain who takes people out to see the sharks, but then he
She takes women out,
abducts them and makes them shark bait for his amusement.
and he videotapes them while they're hanging off the
this
side
is a
of the
movie
boat.
that's in the theater?
It's
It was
out
on-
right now.
on, like, yeah,
it's going to be on Shudder this summer.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's pretty dark. Even as shark movies go, it's like, holy shit, like this guy's just torturing women for 2 hours. But
Yeah. It's like Saw, but just for sharks.
yeah, it's Saw but sharks.
Well,
It's a
but that
great description.
Saw, but that was what you laid out, that model. That's what Jaws could have been, where there was just like a new Jaws every year.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to franchise stuff back then. They had to actually like really put thought and money into it.
I think that would have been cool, but like, let's not forget that the first movie is directed by Steven Spielberg. Like, that's the reason Jaws is amazing. And you really feel it watching Jaws 2, which is a very fun summer blockbuster
Yes.
movie, but it is no Jaws. It's not even close to the propulsive feeling that you get watching Jaws, where you're kind of like, when you're watching Jaws, you're like this the whole time, leaning closer and closer to see what happens. In this movie, I'm just like, I'm waiting for the kill.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And I don't even really think about the kills as much when I think of Jaws. In this movie,
It's all kills.
it's a machine.
Yeah.
Very similar to Halloween 2, a movie that I support.
Yeah.
Same thing.
It's Myers just like, let's get his stats up. Like his PER in Halloween 2 is just way better.
Yeah.
He only has like 4 kills in Halloween 1.
He's Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah.
Halloween 2, he's taken down like an entire hospital. Anyway, they found a director. They start doing a script that's in the future. John D. Hancock.
Interesting director.
Theater director, TV director, right?
Did Bang the Drum Slowly.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Before that, he did a really good horror movie called Let's Scare Jessica to Death, which features great stuff on the water.
Are you on that 4K Blu-ray or no?
I'm not on that
Okay.
one. But there's a really good addition to
You're
that one.
saving it all for the Dangerous Animals.
Vinegar
Yeah.
Syndrome put out a really good version of that. This is a little bit of a what if for me.
Yeah.
Is if they hadn't fired John D. Hancock off the movie.
I
Because
would
he's a better director than Jano Schwartz.
the
Who was a
word
TV director?
in the reporting or the stuff about the making the movie is that his version of Jaws 2 was like a more of like a darker drama.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if that's more of the first half of the film.
There was that plus he was kind of trying to cut back the wife's parts in the Universal guy. That was the
Yes.
story he told.
Yes.
And he blamed this
I
on
like
the
that
shark
story.
not working, which is obviously the same line that Spielberg had. He was like, he basically got fired because he couldn't get the action sequences to play. They weren't cutting together.
Yeah.
And David Brown was like, we made the wrong choice.
Production stops long enough that Spielberg thinks about it.
They also thought about
And he writes the screenplay for the Quint speech.
yeah.
just for fun because
Yeah.
he was a fucking freak.
And
He's
then
like,
there
I'm gonna
was
write this whole movie script.
it was gonna maybe be directed by Joe Alves, who did 3D, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Verna Fields, who edited one and
Yes.
became like a executive at Universal, but the DGA wouldn't let him do it.
Yeah.
You can't replace.
I didn't know about that. There was some rule that from Outlaw of Josie Wales, they fired the director and then had the crew direct the rest of the movie.
It's kind of like what happened on Tombstone, right?
And the DGA was like, we're not doing that anymore. But then
The
we've
DGA
done
was like
10 rewatchables where that's happened.
Yeah, the DGA had the second apron.
Yeah. At the trade Porzingis.
I don't know if that's a tall tale from Joe Alves or not.
I like it.
He
though.
says that, but it's a
Yeah.
good story.
So they end up with Jenna Swark.
I had so many different variations on how you were going to pronounce this that I didn't even bother to look up the real one because I was so excited.
It's one of the weirdest names I've seen in the IMDb. His last name is spelled SCWARC. I don't.
It's called
go-
Gene. Keep
Yeah.
it moving. Yeah.
Gene.
But it's
We'll come-
borderline shark. It's pretty close.
Yeah, it does look shark.
I just love to get 3 consonants in a row in the last
Yeah.
name, you know, just right to start. Schwark.
Well, you got it here.
I got 3 consonants in a row in my last name.
You do.
Mhm.
You
Oh
do.
yeah.
HORLB.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Congrats.
Thanks.
Jano Swark.
Jeannot.
Jano.
Yeah.
10 years later, he's doing episode 8 of Hill Street Blues, season 4.
Not bad. Yeah.
Yeah, he seems like a very affable man in
Yeah.
the interview.
You know, didn't like him, Roy Scheider.
And he did not.
Clashed on the set.
Didn't like him at all.
We did have one star come back. The GOAT, John Williams.
Yes.
They're like, hey, John, can you kick in a little teenage kids
Little
sailing,
shag?
having fun,
Yeah.
like some
Little beach
fun,
party?
happy.
Come on,
We might have an
man.
orgy at the
Yeah.
Lighthouse music. J-Dubs is like, I got that.
J-Dubs has got one hand on the Close Encounters theme and another one just
Yeah,
remixing
just
Jaws.
rocking to it.
That's the thing is like in 1978, he also scored The Fury, the Brian De Palma movie, and Superman the movie, which is one of the most iconic themes in movie history. And he was like, yeah, I got time for Jaws too.
Yeah,
These guys,
and he's working
it's
on
incredible.
Empire.
Yeah. He's got Empire. He's got 1941 coming in 79 and Empire coming in 80. He cooked.
Only
Cooked for 20
Harold
years.
Faltermeyer is the only one who can
Bill.
match him
Bill, be serious.
when Beverly Hills Cop and Fletch
And Top Gun.
and Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Yeah.
That little run Harold had. No John Williams,
No.
No.
He's no
But-
Zimmer.
but we still same thing. How did he do it? Who's the guy in Miami Vice? Jan Hammer?
Yeah.
That was another one. It's like Jan's just cranking it for 2 years. Cranking music.
what?
Just cranking music.
Yeah.
The synthesizer. Yeah.
Anyway, the GOAT John Williams is back. $20 million budget made $208 million. 7th biggest movie of 1978. The biggest non-Bond sequel ever. Roger Ebert refused to review it.
Why?
Just didn't write a review. He was
Oh.
movie
So
critic for
did
the
he
Chicago
refuse, or
Sun-Times.
did he just not? He wasn't up
No
in the
review.
bullpen?
Did the TV show and they skipped over and he said it was pure trash.
I was just going to say, I think he used the word
He
trash.
said it was pure trash.
Interesting.
Not a fan.
It's quite a stand. I mean, it's not pure trash.
But as we know,
Raj was the sequel police.
Yeah.
Raj also doesn't like horror movies.
Yeah.
He's
He-
the Martin Brody of sequels.
was.
He thinks there's something degrading about the 80s slasher.
Yeah.
And he never supported them. And this is an 80s slasher.
He could have reviewed it. I mean, he should have reviewed all of the top 10
I wonder if
movies
it
of
was
the
like
year.
15% hornier. You know, if Eddie had sealed the deal, if
Yeah.
Raj would have been like, I
If Jackie would have whipped him out, yeah, then he would have been all about it. Well, we know Raj, he loves the female form. I mean, he's always writing about breasts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in all of
the
his
R-rated
reviews.
version of this, Raj would be like, yeah, I'll review it.
You make it seem like he had like complete veto power. Like
At the trib. He was just like, get the fuck out. Yeah.
Can you imagine him storming out of a screen and like, no review? You get nothing.
it's like the soup Nazi.
You should try that for Big Pick. Just 45 minutes of silence after Jurassic World.
Well, we're
Rebirth.
seeing Jurassic World this
Yeah.
week. We'll see if I want to do an episode about it.
Just 45 seconds of dead air. You're just like playing Brick Blast
We'll be
on
right
your
back.
iPad. We're going to take a break and do the categories. This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Life is full of decisions, big and small, and sometimes you make one you can really stand behind. I did this a few times in my life, especially in the mid 2010s after I left Grantland and ESPN. And I was like, you know what? I still think there's an idea for a company that could really work. And then The Ringer, and now we're 10 years later, we're still here. State Farm gets it. Making confident choices can make all the difference. That's why with the State Farm personal price plan, you can choose the right amount of coverage to help create an affordable price. Talk to a State Farm agent today to learn how you can choose to bundle and save with the personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state. Most rewatchable scene, all the kids getting together and getting ready to go sailing with the happy John Williams music. I think the title of that song is "The Kids Are Sailing, They're Happy."
Cousin Jackie arrives.
The water skier gets eaten.
Yeah, that's where it really goes up.
When you say somebody
a notch.
water skiing and you hear the
Not good. Not good. Really. So this was the first scene that Geno Svark shot, and he did it because they needed to rewrite the whole movie.
Yeah.
And he was like,
Yeah.
just give me 5 days to shoot a really cool scene, and this works.
You can also see that came through in the edit where you're like, man, this chick is water skiing for a really long
Yes,
time.
there's a lot of time spent. I do need to explore with you the woman pouring gasoline all over herself before before lighting a flare and
Yeah.
exploding the entire boat.
That is
actually picking this.
It's one of my favorite things.
That
in the
clip
movie.
is just playing in Joe Dumars' office.
What
That
was the
should be
idea?
the gift for any time an NBA team fucks up. She gets gasoline.
It's so hard to do. Even with a shark attacking you, it's like, how did you do that?
What's the math on that? Like, what was she going for?
And why does she have a giant thing of gasoline in her
What is she
boat?
trying to do? Like, pour gasoline on the shark? There's a fucking shark in
She's
the
gonna
water.
light matches, throw the matches at him.
It's actually quick thinking. She's like, oh, what I'll do is just like douse this thing in gasoline and shoot a flare at it. It's just like, hey, leave it to the professionals.
That's how she's thinking.
Water ski driver.
There's like a great overhead shot of her pouring gasoline on herself.
But for a second, I was kind of like, is she like, I'd rather immolate myself than get eaten by a shark?
Right. Even the shark was like, what the fuck are you doing? Can I just finish eating
Let's
you?
just get this over with.
It's like my favorite thing in the movie. I love that so much.
So funny. We gotta make that a GIF. 2 bars. We can get to 13, but you
Picks
have
up
to
the
trade
phone
the
to
pic.
Atlanta. And it's like, ah!
Oh my god. Oh man. All right.
Great
More
movie.
rewatchable scenes. Brody in the shark tower freaking out and shooting at the bluefish.
Also kind of Dumars-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
a kid like kind of right there.
I mean, it's close.
He's pointing at the kid.
This
and-
is the funny thing with like the town council meeting is the town council definitely has a point. Like Brody
Yes.
seems insane.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's you lose your job with the shooting at the bluefish. I don't know if there's anything coming back from that. And you lose your job when you trade your unprotected 2026 pick for Derek Queen.
Do you think in that scene that Brody has PTSD from
Yes.
the original Jaws and that's what's driving
Yeah,
him
because
to
he
do
says
it?
I won't go through that hell again. Like you're gonna have
Right.
to get somebody else to fight this shark.
Great shot,
Okay.
Gordo. Brody coming down the stairs.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good
I
one.
like the shark tower in general. I was thinking about getting one for my backyard.
Okay. That seems normal.
Just cool. Just climb up there.
Where's Dad?
What about how angry the mayor is when he's up there? He's like, what's he doing up there? Like, relax. He's a cop. He's
It's
doing
a
something.
shark tower. It's his job. Brody showing them the shark picture.
Yeah.
This was Roy's Oscar clip. I think Roy
Yeah.
had talked himself into the movie at that point. The check had cleared. He found out what points meant. And he was like, I know what a shark looks like because I've seen one up close. You better do something about this one because I don't intend to go through that hell again. It's good.
And they're like, nah, it doesn't look like a
She's like,
shark.
fuck off, Roy.
They're really rude to him.
Yeah.
Looks like an eye. All right. this is when the movie takes off. The last 50 minutes, Eddie gets eaten. This is just a tremendous,
Bitten and
tremendous
dragged
horror
head
scene.
first into the boat and then sucked down.
Yes.
The whole Eddie, swim!
Eddie, hurry! Faster! Come on! Swim! Hurry! Hurry, Eddie!
But
And Eddie's like the actor they hired. I had this in the research. Like didn't know how to swim. They didn't realize it, so they had to like quickly teach him like how to swim. So you can kind of see it. He's in the water.
Yeah, he
kinda
looks
like,
really uncomfortable
Yeah.
when he first goes over
because he
for
can't
it.
fucking swim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
this is his name's,
Probably would have checked that on the Eddie character. Hey, any swimming in your history?
this is his name's Gary Dubin.
Yeah.
This is an incredible. Imagine if you were just a man named Gary Dubin, and this is how your IMDb or your Wikipedia started. He was an American actor, best known for his portrayal of Punky Lazar, a friend of Danny Partridge on The Partridge Family. He also voiced Toulouse in The Aristocats in 1970 and played the part of ill-fated teenager Eddie Marchand, who was eaten by the shark in Jaws 2.
Yeah.
That's his
That's
legacy.
it?
That's his legacy.
That's his IMDb.
He was on Green Acres, Land of the Giants.
Eddie!
It's tough. The moment when he gets up to the boat and puts his hand on the boat and the wood breaks and pulls away. Incredible
Awesome.
stuff.
Really great. The first big sailboat attack where Mike almost dies.
Yeah, he gets knocked out.
Yeah.
When he bangs his head.
Great
Yeah.
stuff. And the boat's split, and it's just, I love all that. Helicopter guy dies. We talked about him.
Awesome.
Sean almost gets eaten. Not you, Sean. Sean and the little boy, Sean. And Marge dies.
Yeah, Marge does die. It's tough.
Probably the most altruistic person in the movie.
Yeah.
Didn't see anybody else jumping in for Sean.
No, she's an idiot. What is she thinking? that's an insane
You would just
call.
watch Sean get eaten.
I probably wouldn't jump in if I saw the shark coming.
I think
You
you're
would jump in?
I mean,
Yeah, I
this,
think
I
you
think
have
that
to.
if we're doing blame pie, it's
You gotta jump
it's
in.
all Brody for being like, take Mike back to the hospital, but not Sean.
No, it's Ellen Brody that morning.
Oh, Ellen.
When Ellen Brody is like,
No.
where's Sean? He's probably out playing somewhere. I'm like, this is a 10-year-old child.
Well, we've got.
You can't just-
no, this was the late 70s. My mom didn't know where I was for
You
6
live
hours a
in
day.
Jawstown. You
I
don't
know.
live there's already been a shark sighting. This
Yeah,
is
it's fine.
crazy.
Can't judge.
this
This is why
will come
so
up
many
later,
kids
yeah.
got up. This is why it was the heyday for serial killers and terrible people. Because kids would just be like, yeah, I'll be back in 6 hours.
Guys, there's a shark sighting in Amity.
Well, Dad's
They don't
And
know.
around.
Ellen
They've been
Brody is
hiding
like,
it.
no big deal.
She wanted
Go
to get
wherever
away
you
from
need
his
to
drunk
go.
Michael
dad.
sneaks him out.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know where her child is.
Yeah. But that's
Yeah,
the 70s.
but like he could be down like, getting ice cream or something like
yeah.
that.
Well, she's going to have to explain to Marge's parents why she's fucking dead.
Blame pie that. They leave to take, I had this in nitpicks. They leave to take unconscious Mike Brody back to a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody says, hey, if you're going to
Take
go
the
back,
4-year-old.
why don't you take the 8-year-old kid
Yeah,
who's
that's what I'm
completely
saying.
terrified?
8-year-old,
who's just-
sorry.
Yeah, however old he
Good.
is.
I think he's 10, but yeah, good note.
But maybe
He's a pretty
take
little
take
small
him with you.
10-year-old.
I think that they explained that he's 10 in the movie. Do they not?
Oh, I thought you were going to be like, they explained that he has a pituitary problem.
No, he was around my age when I saw the movie.
Okay.
So he's somewhere between 8 and 10. But anyway, they just left him behind.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Meanwhile, that was his brother. He had no other siblings in the water with him.
Yeah. Poor Marge.
Very strange.
Great kill.
All-time scene. And then the electric cable ending.
Not sure about the science with that one.
Well, here's the thing.
I know
don't-
we're questioning science. It's okay. I'm just saying. Yeah.
We know it now because we know it's happening. In the theater, seeing this for the first time, it was an awesome idea.
Open wide! Open wide! See ya!
This cable comes up and he realizes what it is and he starts hitting it and you're like, what the fuck is he doing? Why is he doing it? But you realize as the shark's coming, oh, I see what he's going to try to do. Just a really inspired
There's two.
idea.
It's a culmination of the film or a climax of the movie that's lightly based on, or it's based on two lightly made points earlier in the movie. Hendrix pulls up the power line when they're dredging after the first
Yeah,
Love
kill.
it. Chekhov's power
And
line.
then the shark expert is like, and they're also attracted by sonar.
Yes,
Like they are
Dr.
attracted by
Elkins.
science.
Yeah.
But if you're not paying attention hardcore to these random scenes, you're like, how the fuck is this working? Like, how is he banging on a wire and the shark is coming for it?
He's like, they're also attracted to hot girls. Most rewatchable. I think Eddie getting eaten is the best.
Yeah,
in the
can we
movie.
just do the doomed sailing trip? Like them.
How about the last 50 minutes is the most rewatchable. But I would go Eddie.
The woman pouring gasoline on herself is the scene I will watch for the rest of my life.
I like the chopper. And within the doomed sailing trip, I think the chopper is so fucking cool.
What do you have for what's the most 1978 thing about this movie?
Letting kids hang out in a bar.
I had that as well. 18-year-olds smoking and drinking in a bar.
Yeah.
I also have Len talking to Martin Brody about Martin Brody's wife, where he's like, she's a hell of a woman. Sir,
We got to bring that back.
Yeah,
imagine
we
if
said
it's like, Phoebe is a hell of a woman, Chris.
You know what?
That's just fucking
That
weird.
Gary Simmons.
I'm going to do that over July 4th weekend. I'm just going to start complimenting my friends' wives. See how it goes.
You want a vodka soda?
I have a runner-up, Donna Wilkes, who we'll talk about later, who's, you might know for the people listening from this movie, is the woman who's the kind of hot new girl in town, but then just screams for the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Yes.
In complete peril. Her hair,
Yep.
very late 70s specific. There was only a 2-year era where anybody had that haircut.
Yeah, it's like bangs.
Almost like a bowl cut bangs, and popped out on the side. Everybody had it.
Mm.
So it just makes me think of that.
Hard to believe it didn't stick around.
What's age the best? Kids in the 70s hanging out with a guitar at the beach.
Yeah.
This was your time, CR. This is when you would have thrived.
I would have been the Bon Iver of Amity. Yeah.
Just people. You need a pack of cigs and a guitar.
Yeah. Just mad chicks
Using
coming up.
Holocene on a boat is something I now need to see.
Yeah, I have a lot of the teenage behavior is aged the best for me, including just being like, we've got beers stowed away in a garage. You know, those beers have just been cooking all summer. They're just,
Oh, yeah.
they've got to do what they've got to do. How about having a code for get me out of this situation? When Brody's like, we got to look into that 908, and he's like, what's a 908? And he's like, I just wanted you to get me out of there. We got to do more of that, right?
Yeah, what should it be like a mid-pod thing where like Bill's on a jag about some girl's haircut and I'm like, CR 908.
Just interrupt Bill to get
It's a 908 problem. The late 70s summer beach montage I had in the What's Age the Best, where it's like a guy or a little kid putting mustard on a hot dog, and then somebody's flying a kite, and it was just like very 70s.
Is that
Maybe nostalgic.
in the lead up to the killer whale, the beached whale?
No, it's the lead up to when he's in the Shark Tower.
Yeah.
They have this montage of
okay.
everyone's having fun at the beach, and then it finishes as Brody in the Shark Tower.
Okay.
And it's made me nostalgic. Now you just see somebody with a fucking COVID mask on and two guys smoking pot.
What beach are you on?
I don't know. Amity. Amity's been done.
Did something happen?
I don't know.
You're building a
anything more
shark tower
negative.
in your yard, and you think beaches look like
Trying to
Last
make
of
jokes,
Us.
guys.
Okay, yeah.
It's the second straight pod that Bill has brought up people just smoking marijuana in public. He seems annoyed
Do you
by
guys
this.
think? Do you think cocaine came
Think
up
we could cut
enough
it back
on
a
After
little.
Hours?
Well, the floor is yours.
Well, I've heard from some concerned listeners who are like,
Not enough or
maybe
too much?
maybe we needed a cocaine expert on the
Interesting. Was one available?
Expert for which part?
pod. Just like what it feels like to be up all night on cocaine out in New York City. Not that the character is, but that Martin Scorsese certainly had been.
Yeah, I think it's a fair point.
All right.
Yeah.
Should we just retake the whole pod, delete what we had?
No, I just
I've
want
never done cocaine.
to pass along some feedback.
As you know, neither have I.
Yeah.
We'll make up for it when Rosillo and I do Casablanca.
On blow.
After doing a
You
few
two with a
lines.
fucking mirror in the middle.
Yeah.
This is what it was like to own a bar in Morocco.
Cruising car culture. One of the screenwriters, Carl Gottlieb, said he got the idea because of this sailboat thing, because so many people would just drive around in cars, which we've seen in Dazed and Confused, other movies.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, let's do this with sailboats. Like these kids every day, they just go out in the water. Pretty good idea.
It's very American Graffiti in
Yeah.
general,
Yeah.
the movie.
I like it.
Yeah. I had
Now they'd be playing Fortnite.
Just be like,
Just be 5 kids in 5 different houses. Just like, dude, power me up. I'm losing my life.
yeah.
I feel like you've been radicalized by something.
No, I just like this era. I like when people hung out and did shit together.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's bring it back.
Yeah, let's bring it back.
My last What Stage the Best is just Tina screaming, "Shark!"
I have a couple other ones. Lighthouses.
Yeah.
Those have aged well.
It's like seeing them in movies.
They typically
Just
do age
asking.
well, though.
They'll show
Yeah.
it early. They'll be like, we got a lighthouse in this movie. I'm like, okay, we're coming back.
Yeah.
Sign me up. Maids that show up for a work already dressed like a maid.
Is it the maid or is she the babysitter?
What is she?
I don't know. Why do they need one, too? They don't do any parenting.
This was like a big thing in TV shows in the 70s when
They have a small clapboard house
But
in
I'm like,
Amityville.
why does she have this job as a secretary and then she's employing somebody to work in the house? Like, just quit your job and take care of your family, for Christ's
Do you
sake.
think it's like a Keeping Up with the Joneses kind of thing where
Yeah.
like Len makes it seem like, oh, you don't have any help?
Yeah,
you
but
gotta
it's
do
also-
that to be successful.
It's like, does it work for me? I don't, it's terrible. Maybe it's a comment on capitalism.
Sure.
the last one I had was the idea of seeing the shark early and often was smart. You got a zag from the last movie.
Yeah.
'Cause you're not building up any suspense. We know what the shark looks like.
That was Jeannot's big theory.
Let's see the shark. Big Kahuna Burger order, best use of food and drink. The punch?
Not a ton, yeah, but the punch sucked, right?
The pizza
the punch being
that
bad.
Mike and his buddies are eating at the bar when they're like, and they say to the bartender, "This is the only place that the garbage man delivers." I love a little.
That looks like some rank bar pizza, though.
I know.
It looks gnarly.
I'm just saying it's the best use. I'm not saying I'd want to eat it.
Yeah.
Great shot, Gordo Award, most cinematic shot. It's probably Eddie getting pulled down.
Oh, I like
pulling the wood off.
I like the water skiing stuff. I like a lot of the like wide shots of her going back and forth across the ocean.
Good wide shot of the sun, that scene when he's picking up the poison bullets.
Oh
And
yeah.
his son comes over and help, and they do a nice little wide shot with the water.
Oh, you know
It's
what's
good
a
shot.
great one though is we didn't talk about the very beginning when they're at the gala event and I don't even what building is that they're in?
It's the new It's like the new conference center that they've built. I think.
where the high school band is playing. There's like a long crane shot that goes all the way over the swimming pool and then down.
Classic
to
Jeannot.
I bet that was Hancock in his bag, and they were like, "Man, get this guy the fuck out of here."
It feels like that.
Yeah.
It does feel like that.
Kid Cudi Pursuit of Happiness or Best Needle Drop. They don't throw a 70s song in this, so I, guess we
just
get the
rockin'
Happy Jaws music.
John Williams getting happy.
J-Dub's just killing it.
There's stuff on the radio, but I couldn't even determine what
They
it
don't
was.
sing anything.
I feel like
With
Fall
the
Tomorrow
guitar?
would have killed it too.
Fall Tomorrow
But
would
the
have
big two.
been like, I've been working on this riff.
Big two.
The Sean Fennessey word for stealth homage that gives every movie nerd a criteria orgasm.
I mean, the Mutiny on the Bounty speech that Douglas gives,
Oh, yeah.
where he gives the Captain Bligh, that's a great moment. Douglas with a fucking dork.
I don't have a best character name. There's no Chess Rockwell Brocklanders award this episode.
I was just thinking
I even looked through the IMDb to
I
make
think
sure.
Len Peterson is a really good real estate developer
is.
name.
I
That's
like
not bad.
Dr. Elkins. I think it's pretty good. I also think just a gal named Marge. Who's the last Marge that was under the age of 80 that you've seen?
That's true.
Well, that's why she died. CR Flex category.
I got to do Sean Penn brought my own pack. We do
Yeah.
this for all the Scheiders, but 3 cigarettes with coffee before breakfast is really elite shit. And I'll
Yeah,
throw
I
in-
read his Wikipedia and I was just waiting for the COPD paragraph.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's in there, but he definitely died a little early.
And then I also, just for fun, I did Den of Thieves Benihana Award for the Hog's Breath Saloon, which is a real Florida place. It
Yeah.
was on an island, but they moved it to Destin.
Yeah, it looks like it actually reminded me of the Squire in Chatham, but it definitely looks
A little
like
bit
a
like the Perfect
Massachusetts
Storm bar. Yeah.
Mm.
Good job with that. The Butch's Girlfriend Award wink link in the film is the first hour. It's just slow.
Mine was
Could be tighter.
the incredulity of the town council. I think we have enough evidence to suggest that A, this guy knows what he's talking about, and B, this can happen here. So for as freaked out as you might be about your new hotel, like you should maybe give him some.
I had that in What Stage the Worst, but that's a good call. But we talked about
It
this
also
with
doesn't
Diary of
really
the
matter.
Vengeance. When the people, the heroes of the previous movie who have no credibility with anybody, nobody's like, maybe we should listen to him. He
Yeah.
did. He
Yeah.
was right the last
He
time.
did find the Ark of the Covenant, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
a good point.
Maybe he's honest. No, they don't do it.
Do you have a Butch's Girlfriend?
It's kind of tied up in my flex.
All right. Wait. What's age the worst, other than Lorraine Gary being married to the head of Universal and somehow getting cast in all of these movies? How did they decide to make this movie and have multiple kids in the group get killed, but none of them were Larry Vaughn Jr.? Wouldn't that have been the natural revenge
Well,
for
he should have
Jaws
died
1?
early in the movie, and that's what
Or
Larry's
he gets
come to
knocked
Jesus
off
moment.
and like, did we need Larry Vaughn Jr. in the last 20 minutes?
Well,
He absolutely should have died.
I think that he's not killed because then they don't have to show the mayor cope with that in any way, because we know the mayor was not available for the end of this movie shoot.
Oh, because he left the shoot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
That's because his
wife got sick.
His wife had to get a biopsy. They
Murray
thought
Hamilton.
she had cancer.
Oh,
Murray
that's bad.
Hamilton's real life wife. And so he did all of his days in 5 days.
Okay.
And then they got him off the set, which is one of the reasons why the movie kind of ends the way that it does. There's no conclusive
And he is
moment.
actually, in terms of his performance, he's like, I'm only like a figurehead. Like the Len guy is obviously running the town, and he's just like kind of shuffling along.
Counter. The movie ends after Roy Scheider electrocutes the shark, and we didn't need to see Mayor Vaughn anyway. So I think Larry should have been shoot to smithereens.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Fuck that family.
Yeah.
All the deaths
Marge
they
had to
caused.
die and he gets to
Can I
live.
throw in an additional Larry Vaughn? What's age the worst?
Yeah.
When Larry goes up to Michael and he's like, "Dad's got you working, huh?" And it's just like, "Hey, fuck you, man. Remember when you sent my dad out there to get eaten? Like, I'm
Yeah.
fucking working. I'm not working. Mind your own business."
The Brody should have hated Mayor Vaughn.
Yeah. Classic politician, son. Not a nice guy.
What else do you have for what's age worst? Anything?
No, I don't.
We'll have a couple. Mike Brody.
Mhm.
Terrible actor.
Tough.
So bad that he gets knocked unconscious and he's giving the same performance unconscious as he was during the first hour of the movie.
Yeah.
Also, terrible Big Brother. Don't bring your little 8-year-old out for your big, let's all get drunk and sail boats, and like maybe not the best place for your 8-year-old brother.
I do believe this was Mark Gruner's final credit
It
as an
says
actor.
that he is
Really?
a former American actor.
Yes.
I wonder what he does now.
Tough. Listen, sometimes things aren't your calling and you realize it and you move on to the next thing.
Is he the kid from the first Jaws? Is it like the same? It's not
No.
Michael from the first Jaws. Okay.
Like Donna Wilkes she's like, "Are you going to be there tomorrow?" And he's like, "I don't know, maybe." She's like,
Well, he's
"Oh,
playing hard to
be
get.
there at 8." Or he's half dead.
He's not a very good actor. I agree with that.
There's no black people in this movie, but there was no black people in Jaws 1 either. But maybe
Mhm.
this is Amity, where it's just all white people.
Are you saying Jim Crow still exists in Amity?
I don't understand why there aren't any black people in this movie.
Maybe we could do Sinners, a sequel that connects to
good
the
idea.
Jaws world.
Well,
It's really good.
I have the Van Lathan Award. Did this movie need more black people? I would go a step further. Anybody who's
Yeah.
not a white person. What's going on
Why
in
couldn't
Amity?
Brody have a new deputy who's black?
Are there no minorities in Amity at all?
Maybe this is a parable about punishing the white oppressor by having them killed by
think
sharks
that's it.
in this community.
But then they put Lou Gossett Jr. through hell in the next film.
That's true. But then Mario Van Peebles gets his revenge.
It's true.
In the climax, Bob rescues Lucy from the shark, but then gets bitten in half.
Yeah.
And it's so gruesome, they decided this will get us an R. We can't have this in the theater. So Bob survives, but I'm not sure you can see Bob.
I would say
In the
one of the
ending.
things that's aged the worst is while realistic that size of a group might be hanging out during the summer, it's not good for film when you're like, there's like 22 kids here and it's hard
Yeah.
to keep. And I feel like 6 of them are named Eddie.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to keep it straight. Like who's fucking who's hanging out, who's
Yeah, I don't-
important.
To me,
Like,
it's always the
I've
guy.
said Bob. I don't know who Bob is.
Yeah, to me, it's the guy who's always not Keith Gordon, because Keith Gordon.
Well, there's
is
Napoleon
Keith Gordon in my
Dynamite
head.
guy next to Keith Gordon. That's his
Yeah.
buddy.
Isn't that Bob?
No,
No,
Yeah.
that's not Bob.
That's not Bob. He's the one who
No.
gets, because the Napoleon Dynamite gets Brooke. He's been pining after Brooke.
Right.
Yeah. Who's the guy with the curly hair? Who's like, "Hey, Mike, going out today?"
That's Andy.
That's Andy.
It's just
Gary-
Mike, Bob,
yeah.
Eddie,
Yeah.
Andy.
Yeah,
It's all
Andy.
4
But
or
Yeah.
5 letter names.
if we could just get a little bit of roster shrinkage, I think that would be great.
I see. You want to use the stretch provision on Andy?
Well, just like 7 kids. I think I could keep
Okay.
that straight. There's like 14 of them.
The Ruffalo Hannah Rubinek Partridge overacting word goes to Donna Wilkes, who screams like an absolute maniac for the last 10 minutes of this movie.
It's interesting.
So compelling as a screamer. It's both realistic, but also pretty annoying. And at one point, we have the classic 70s move that would never happen now, where the guy is telling her to calm down and does the airplane shake, like in the movie Airplane.
He looks
it's
like
a borderline domestic violence moment.
Larry looks like he's going to slap her across the face.
Yeah, that's another reason why he had to be eaten.
It's true.
But she becomes the future star. I sent this to you guys. 6 years later, makes a movie called Angel.
Are you announcing that for next week's Rewatchable
A
yet?
to-be classic.
It's a wonderful
I haven't
film.
seen it in a long time. But she's a high school student in Hollywood by day and a hooker on Hollywood Boulevard at night. And then a serial killer tries to kill her. And she becomes involved in some sort of serial killer thing. And it made $17 million and was a surprise hit.
Is that a big
And they made like
Ty West
they made like
favorite?
5 of them.
It's one of the key inspirations for the Maxine, the movie that came out a couple of years ago, the horror movie, the final movie in the Ty West trilogy.
My overacting goes to Ann Dusenberry as Tina Wilcox. I feel like she chews the scenery every time she gets it. She like runs up to the camera. She's like, like every time. She's
What
really
was she?
selling
Was she
it.
Miss
call.
Amity? What was her title?
Yeah, she was Miss Amity.
Miss Amity.
All the guys want to get on Tina. It's a lot of competition.
Okay.
Sean, you have a flex category.
Yeah. So the greatest acting I've ever seen in my life award goes to Murray Hamilton, who's literally doing a terrible performance and the best performance I've ever seen, where you can watch him as the mayor of a town that has already endured a shark attack that becomes national news. He has presumably been re-elected mayor.
It's been 4 years.
Another shark has arrived in his town and he is compartmentalizing and just shutting it down like nothing is happening. And the reason the performance works is because he's gotten terrible news in his real life about his wife, who he believes may have cancer. And so he is just dead-eyed. He can barely even talk in this movie. Murray Hamilton is barely giving a performance.
He has to like pass the baton to Len in the town council meeting.
Exactly. But knowing what we know about the backstory, it weirdly works for the character as like this politician has sold his soul. But in fact, it was just a man who could barely finish the day as an actor. And that to me is cinema.
And Scheider was like, I thought I was going to be the only one mailing it in.
This guy's
Murray's
mailing
just
in 'cause
dead-eyed.
he can barely even see.
It's a good one. This brings us to the CR things. Luke Wilson could have been Harrison Ford. How does take a word? I'm glad you brought up Mayor Vaughn. I think Mayor Vaughn keeping his job after Jaws 1 is the biggest reach in movie sequel history.
You might be right.
So it's in the finals for me with after Halloween 2 when Michael Myers gets shot in both eyeballs and shot. I think he's been shot like a total of 13 times at that point and stabbed in the neck and blows up in the fire and burns to death when he then comes back 2 movies later. That would be my other choice. But Mayor Vaughn, like, I just don't think he's getting reelected. I actually don't think he should be allowed to live in Amity.
I don't even know if he should be a free man.
The Kintner family is suing the town of Amity for 7 years, and it's going to be like the Gawker Hulk Hogan settlement. It's going to be, they're going to get like $115 million out of this.
It's going to be renamed Kinderville.
And he's going to jail. That's how, it's not even, forget the getting reelected. He's going to prison for what he did to the
And if
little Alex
we're just
Kintner.
whiteboarding here, how cool would Jaws 2 be? And this, not 2B, 2. Well, how
It's like
cool
a
would it
Shawshank
be
type movie?
if Brody, big fucking hero of Jaws 1,
Mayor?
rides the wave to Mayor, and now finds himself in Larry's position, where
Mayor
he's
Brody.
like, where he's like, fuck. I mean, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with this job, a lot of financial pressure. That may be a shark, it may not be. And then he's the one resisting. We get a new Brody coming in.
I'm zagging. I'm going the other way. In fact, in America, we love our dirty politicians, and we love for them to be revived in the national consciousness. And we are living through a moment.
I don't even
just
think
like
he was
it right
revived. I think they were
he
just
hit a
like,
rough
Larry got
patch.
that one wrong.
He hit a rough patch and he bounced back.
Also, you never know with those island communities because it's so full of summer people who probably aren't voting in local elections. So if the locals are like, this guy, he looks out for our best financial interests, maybe they reelect him.
What are your thoughts, Craig?
Well, I feel like him falling into the same trap again. He gets reelected. And then once again, Brody's like, hey, I think there's a shark in the water. And he's like, nah, lightning can't strike twice.
A little dubious. The truth is
Tough
actually
one.
that there are two sharks in Jaws. There's the shark that they catch at the beginning and then another. So we know that this is shark waters.
Even the two divers went missing, a charred body washed up on shore, and he is still like, we don't know.
In fairness, the charred body washing on shore is one of the craziest things that's ever happened in the history of movies. So I could see him being a little bit confused by that one.
What's your hottest take?
I think if cousin Jackie never shows up in Amity, we have a much lower body count because all those guys are so trim struck by her
Yeah.
that they are like
Trim struck. Want to polish it up.
Is that a phrase?
Trim struck.
There's a less polite way of saying it.
Yeah. It's different four-letter
But
word.
lots of guys are like, we gotta fucking take Jackie sailing. You know, like it's like she's driving all of this, and I feel like she has some culpability in this. And honestly, find her freaking out and her trauma to be a little, unearned.
I also think Tina, I think it's a much more interesting if we're just with the kids the whole time.
Yes. Yeah.
I think Tina immediately hates the new girl.
Jackie, yeah.
Yeah, that's
they're
competition.
feuding.
Tina and Jackie hate each other. Brooke, there's like a whole Summer I Turned Pretty thing going on with Brooke. Like there's just a lot going on.
Good. Could have been a good season 1 of a terrible Amazon
Did
show.
people used to have sex on sailboats? That didn't make sense to me.
Um,
Because if it doesn't go well, then
I've
you're
never
just
done
stuck
it.
at sea.
yeah, not a big sailboat guy myself,
Me
so I
neither.
can't say.
It seems a little risky with the water
Yeah.
and the way things kind of move up and down.
And again, if she turns you down, then you're just 1,000 feet deep into the ocean.
Yeah,
on a
you
boat
get into the-
alone.
True.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
Long walk home.
How's the first season of Trim Struck going for you? You've been working on
some
it?
rewrites.
Yeah.
There is like a very funny It's Always Sunny
Some
bit
peacock.
about like
The
taking women out
implication.
on the water for the implication. Yeah.
It's a Shutter original. Did you have a hottest take?
I do. We've been talking a lot about 1977 and what a critical year that was. And we've already done an episode on Jaws. And on the Jaws episode and on the Star Wars episode, we said that those were the movies that kind of killed the new Hollywood. But this is actually the movie that killed the new Hollywood.
Yeah.
This is the one that, this movie being
It's like, oh, these movies don't even have to be
okay
good. Yeah.
and making $78 million in 1978 is when it's over.
Yeah.
That's because Jaws and Star Wars are special. This movie is fun, but it's not special. And that is why we are where we are.
That's how we got to 1983 with Superman 3 and all those other ones.
But did the people in 1978 feel that way? Because when Empire
I
Strikes
didn't.
Back came out, they were probably excited.
No,
When
I
Jaws 2 came out, was everybody pissed?
No, I'll tell you firsthand, wanted to go first day, was more excited for Rocky 2. They could have kept serving them out.
Yep.
But after the movie came out and the reviews were middling, was everybody like, this was a mistake, we need to stop? Or was it like,
No.
No.
America wanted it. The other thing
No.
is, you didn't really get to see these movies after they were in the movie theater unless they were on like ABC.
Yeah.
Well, there was still something relatively novel about a sequel. I mean, they were criticized for being unoriginal, but there were not 1,000 of them like there are now, like Chris was asking about.
Spielberg is a good example of how it changes. Is like he's like, I think that making sequels is like for carnies.
Yeah, and then he makes
Whatever.
The Lost World.
And then he makes 4 sequels.
You can't overstate how little we had going on in the late 70s. Like when baseball went on strike, it was one of the worst things that ever happened to me in 1981. It was just like, oh my God. It was like this black fucking hole.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing could compare to that.
Did you
now.
want to pour gasoline on yourself when that happened?
We'll take a break and do casting what ifs. All right, so there's a great casting what if
This
for this
is
movie.
one of my favorite casting what ifs of all time.
What is it? I don't know.
Well,
Roy
it's-
Scheider. It's gonna do Deer Hunter.
Oh, yes. Okay. A reverse casting what if.
This is up there
Universal-
with Fishburne for me though.
Yeah,
Like,
can't agree on the money for Deer Hunter.
he had creative
and-
problems with Chimito too.
Yeah, and somehow he's out and ends up the Universal's like, well, you got to do a movie with us. You're doing Jaws 2, and he wasn't going to be in Jaws 2.
But what part is he in Deer Hunter?
He was going
He
to
was
be the De Niro.
That's insane.
He was gonna be Michael.
That would not have worked.
Well,
I'm very happy we got what we got.
You're
I would've-
happy we ended up with one of the best actors of all time.
But in that part, it's just, I don't know, that doesn't feel like a Scheider part to me. It's kind of similar to Sorcerer. You know, the great casting what if of Sorcerer is he wanted McQueen and he went with Scheider. And I think it's better that he went with Scheider, even though it would have
Yeah.
been cool with McQueen. Deer Hunter with Scheider, I don't
think
know.
he's too old to be the Deer Hunter.
I
didn't
probably
understand that
agree with
part.
you, but there is
I think he would have been good though. I
there's
like
something
Scheider.
about his career where he is like such a great second guy in a lot of movies, and then even in Jaws, like arguably is second to the shark.
because in Deer Hunter you're basically playing off a bunch of these great actors,
Yeah.
but you know.
I mean, you're going opposite Walken in Walken's greatest performance. That's tough. I mean, the fact that De Niro holds the weight against Walken is a big part of why the
I
movie
feel like
works.
Scheider goes toe to toe with Hoffman and Olivier and Marathon Man, like in Hackman. I mean, he's not Hackman, but he's
Yeah.
We're gonna do Deer Hunter live. It's gonna be a live show.
Live Russian roulette.
Yeah, we're gonna have CR play Russian roulette in front of 1,270 people at the Wilshire.
While doing
Ebel.
Bernthal. Yeah.
Yeah,
John Bernthal and I do Russian roulette together.
Yeah. Live in Da Nang. Where are
the
we doing
crowd's
it?
the crowd's like, what's this Deer Hunter movie they're doing? Is it a comedy? Anyway, Scheider agreed. Got $500K. Got points. Was miserable most of the time, and it worked out great for him. And then he had all that jazz the next year, and then his career went like that.
There's a bit about how he was so dedicated to the idea of getting out of this movie that he faked a nervous breakdown and trashed like the Beverly Wilshire or something like that. He like trashed his room to give it evidence of his mental state, and they were like, "You're Martin Brody."
There were some John D. Hancock hires that they got rid of once they changed directors.
Kids, right?
Ricky Schroeder was supposed to be Sean Brody, and then he got bounced for the other Sean Brody. And then Dreyfus, they asked him, tried to get him, and he said he wouldn't return unless he got to fuck Mrs. Brody finally in the movie. And they said, you can't do that.
That didn't happen.
That's happening in Trimstruck, though.
Yeah.
Well, for the people listening, we did the Jaws research in the book. Dreyfus's character has an affair with Mrs. Brody. Remember?
Right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. They decided not to put that in the movie. Probably a good idea.
So Dreyfus instead made The Big Fix, a film no one's ever seen. You know about The Big
Dreyfus
Fix?
made some mistakes.
Yeah.
Because he turned down all
I
that
did not
jazz.
know about The Big Fix.
We did this when we did the Dick Dreyfus, whatever we did.
We did Close Encounters.
Yeah. We did all the things that he didn't do, and there was a few of them. Best That Guy award. Keith Gordon not eligible. And Donna Wilkes is not eligible.
I got Joe Miscolo as Len Peterson. He was on Days of Our Lives for 34 years.
I can't argue with that.
34 years.
Yeah.
So mine was Jeffrey Kramer, who then parlayed, he was the sidekick of Chief Brody
Mm-hmm.
and went on to do Halloween 2, ironically.
Graduate of Ithaca College, which is where I went to school.
Jeffrey Kramer?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the police people in Halloween 2. Who's
Oh, yeah.
very upset about that they can't catch Myers. Deion Waiters Award?
I had Keith Gordon as Doug Fetterman, or perhaps a first in the history of Deion Waiters, the unseen character Grace Kinney, the one who's teasing the old guy's oldest teenage boy through the window, and they're having like the meeting at the beginning of all the people are coming to the police station. They're like, "Hey, Brody," and he's just like, she's teasing my son.
It's probably Keith Gordon.
Yeah.
Does he dial it up?
No, but he's the only kid that stands out. Of
He
all
gets
those
like that.
kids
He
are-
gets your Captain Blythe moment.
He does. Yeah. I guess it is Keith Gordon.
Craig, you have a flex category.
I'm gonna go with the "I used to fuck guys like you in prison" award for the craziest quote. This movie's pretty PG.
Yeah.
And then there's that one scene when Jackie shows up on the dock and Larry Vaughn Jr. looks at her and he's like, "Tits like a sparrow."
That was crazy.
Yeah,
what does
that
that
was
even mean?
It is really mean.
That was the Hancock cut. Yeah, that was weird.
Do sparrows have tits?
Never heard.
I think it's meant
I
to
think it's supposed to
be
just mean
smelt like a
flat-chested,
bird.
Yeah.
Never heard that phrase. Gonna holster it.
Yeah. And Jackie was like, one day I'll be
Good
Angel
one.
and I'll be on the
Right.
streets of Los Angeles.
One day
Okay.
I'm
When
gonna
you say
find a
holster,
serial
do you mean
killer.
you're gonna break it out on Ringer Fantasy
Yeah,
at some
you never
point?
know.
Jalen Ramsey, tits like a sparrow.
Half-assed in research. We covered a lot of this stuff. They filmed the Hog's Breast Saloon CR mentioned. It's on Oskaloosa Island. They filmed a lot in Navarre Beach. I don't even know where that is.
Yeah.
Is that like in the Keys?
It's in Florida. I think it's on the Gulf side. I don't know. But it's in Florida somewhere.
The kid who played Sean said they were filming scenes in those with all the kind of wrecked things, and an actual hammerhead started circling them at one point, and they were all scared.
Sheesh.
And then in the Birdie's front porch, they had a flower planter painted bright yellow, and it was one of the barrels from the first Jaws. They just kind of snuck that in.
That's so cool because when he comes home after getting fired, he stares at the barrel, and I was
Yeah.
like, "What's up with that?"
Then they had that cable junction where the end of the movie is.
Yeah.
It was a set they built, and at some point something got fucked up, and it just started floating away, and they
cool.
almost lost.
I
this.
read that it's really,
Set.
it was really slippery. And they kept
Yeah, because
falling
the
off.
rocks
Yeah.
are fiberglass. Yeah.
And then, I mean, the movies that came out after Jaws 1, Orca, Piranha, Tentacles, Killer Fish, Barracuda, Tentarera, Killer Shark, Blood Beach, Piranha 2, The Last Shark, Up from the Depths, Humanities from the Deep, The Island of the Fishman, and Devilfish are all movies that came out.
Fucking Blood
That
Beach.
evil fish.
Let's go.
Beach.
Blood
They
Beach.
they just went for it. And then there's some Jaws too. Like there's a Topps trading card set.
Is there?
Yeah. A
Let's-
Jaws 2 that
Did you put
I don't
in a
think is
bid?
going like hotcakes.
Let's do an unboxing video right now.
I don't think it's that would be fun actually.
That'd be great.
You get those boxes for like $20.
What's in who like is it just like Jaws? Like who's on the cards?
It would be they would have like the scenes from the movie, like Eddie's in danger.
It's cousin Jackie. Yeah.
Ellen Brody. Your fave.
And then they were going to use the sharks from the original film, but they had rusted and rotted away in Universal Studios. They had to make
It's
new
weird that it
sharks.
took 4 years and they had like basically they made no technological like advances in shark
Nah.
technology and fake
I
shark
do
technology.
like
It is a better shark
the
this time.
burned shark.
But it
Bird
sounds
Shark's
like
good.
it
was a
broke
good idea.
as much.
Yeah.
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 Apex Mountain, Shatter, no. Sequels, no. Lorraine Gary. Sounds like Jaws 4.
Yeah, that's her centerpiece. That's her highlight.
Donna
reel.
Wilkes,
Yeah.
definitely Angel.
Definitely.
Yeah.
High school
100%.
student by day, hooker by night.
Serial killer victim by
Where would you say the word hooker sits in your all-time word rankings? Top 20? Top 50?
It's like those old ABC promos. Somebody's killing hookers.
Yeah.
And Dan Tana's got to find out who. Coming up tonight on Vegas.
After your local news.
To catch a killer, you've got to become a killer. Tonight on Charlie's Angels.
You're doing Ernie Anderson,
I know.
PTA's dad. That's what he would do.
Apex Mountain. Every kid except Keith Gordon
Uh-huh.
probably is their Apex Mountain being in this movie, I'm
Mhm.
guessing. Water skiing murders, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to make the case for water skiing because this is
It's
right
beautiful.
around Fonzie jumping the shark on Happy Days. This is like Apex water skiing
ever gone
in pop
water skiing?
culture. No.
Because
Not
of
on
this
my
movie
list.
or because you just don't want you don't
Because I
think
wear
that's-
contacts. It sounds miserable.
Okay.
Have you done it?
No.
Have you ever done it nude?
Sharks, no. Murray Hamilton, definitely not. Terrible making of documentaries about a movie.
Fun. It's a good
I
one.
enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
It's one of the worst making. Why is it 40 minutes?
I'll watch.
This is Jaws 2?
I'll watch every one of these forever.
Yeah.
Two old ass producers.
Just like
Have
take
you ever
heat
did you ever
check.
Yeah.
see the Marathon Man one that we
No.
were talking about where it's just Robert Evans direct to camera standing with his foot up on a chair?
I love it. It's like 30 years
Like,
from now,
we
if
got
you were
Laurence
just like
Olivier.
dictating to someone what a genius you were in every decision you made at the
Yeah.
Ringer, like that's what all
Everybody
this is.
wants a Grantland oral history. You should do it, but straight to camera.
Yeah,
dr-
no
as
one else
Robert
talks,
Evans.
just you.
The one of the producers, it's just so funny. They were asking him about John D. Hancock, or he's
Yeah.
trying to explain why he left, and he's like, did a great job. It just wasn't
Yeah.
really, and he like clearly just fucking shanked the guy and fired
Yeah,
him.
he torpedoed his whole career.
Yeah. It's like, wasn't anything John was doing.
Yeah.
It wasn't? I thought it was really terrible. Oh, this will be good. We didn't get to do this for Jaws 1. Cruise or Hanks?
I got this. Young Cruz is Michael.
like losing it, Cruise.
Taps losing it, Cruz. Kind of looks like him too.
I do believe that's accurate.
But
All right,
doesn't-
but
I thought this category is about the star. It
Yeah,
has to be
it's
the
got to.
star.
You got to.
It's who's Scheider,
No,
right?
is it?
Yeah.
It's who's the main character?
Oh,
I mean, you
Hanks
did
then.
an end around.
I would say Hanks is Brody, but Cruz is any other character except for the mayor, including Len.
Well, can we talk this out?
Yeah.
Hanks would be the typical Chief Brody. I think I would rather
Yeah.
see Cruz as Chief Brody, especially like him in the
Drunk,
Shark
well,
Tower.
drunk Cruz too.
We'd get drunk Cruz.
What does Brody say when he's trying to draw Jaws in to the electric cable? What's his like final where he's like, "Come on, you son of a bitch!"
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forget what his one is. in
Well, because the
this.
first
Keep
one is
coming.
smile, you son of a
Smile,
bitch.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a variation on
Bite
that.
down, you little
Yeah.
bitch. Yeah, Cruz hitting with the paddle, hitting the electric
We
cable.
would get one really good Cruz running on the beach shot. You know, like maybe he had to get from the shark tower to like, you know,
I
100
think
yards
this is the
away.
answer. I think it's Hanks for Jaws 1. I think Jaws 2 needs Cruise. I think we need the unintentional comedy. I think there's an extra scene where he's like playing billiards and just like wiping the floor with his deputy.
Cruise legendarily bad at playing drunk, though, and that's kind of a feature of Martin
But that
Brody.
would make Jaws 2 more fun.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Chief Brody's fucked
He
up.
comes in, he's like, the mayor is galactically stupid.
Scorsese or Spielberg? Obviously Spielberg. What role would Philip Seymour Hoffman have played?
I mean, young Philip Seymour Hoffman could have been a teen, but
So I had as one of the kids.
Yeah.
Like the Son of a Woman era of Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Deputy Hendricks?
Maybe. Like doing like his all
Hang
Along
dog.
Came Polly kind
Yeah.
of craziness.
Mikey. How's the peeping?
As Freddy.
There's some peeping going on in this movie.
For sure.
Picking nits. I know we talked about the water skiing boat blowing up and how ridiculous that whole thing was, but I just want to say again how ridiculous that whole thing was. And when
I
it
almost
actually
feel like
blow up,
we should do like a separate, like, let's break down this scene a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's really only like 30 seconds of her after the skier has gotten killed, where she's just like, God, all right, well, option A is I could dive out and just swim for it. The shore is there. Option B is I could just stay put and hope the shark goes away. Or C, I could cover myself in gasoline, and then it opens up a bunch of different things you could do. You know, maybe he doesn't like gasoline.
isn't the move to just be still in the boat?
The character does it later in the movie. You know, that's how
the-
Tina survives.
The move is definitely not to pour gasoline on herself.
It's one of the best things I've ever seen in a movie. I just
Not the flare gun. It's like the only flammable thing.
No, it's honestly like what would happen in a Naked Gun Hot Shots version of this movie would be what that scene.
It's also great how the old woman's like, ah, shit, I gotta call the cops.
It's a great explosion too. The boat explosion.
Oh, they
is
used
awesome.
to really blow shit up back then.
I only have one other pick and nit. So they finally save Sean, not when Marge dies, like before. And the friend, like Mike's friend, he's like, we got you, buddy. And he keeps kissing him on the cheek. And it's just weird because they're not related.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing?
Andy is a little familiar with Sean. Yeah.
What was that?
Hey, Andy, how's the peeping?
It's a little creepy.
Yeah.
If somebody kissed my son at that 8-year-old son.
Don't you kiss my son.
On the cheek like that over and over again, I'd be like,
You go
dude,
full Sean Penn, Mr.
what
River.
the fuck, buddy?
Is that my son in your arms?
What any more pick and nits or no?
Oh, we covered a lot of
Okay.
them.
Sequel, prequel, prestige TV, all broadcast, or untouchable. I mean, obviously prequel is the answer.
Yeah.
I think we all would have wanted to see
Anthology.
the US
I think I would
Indianapolis.
actually throw a new category of anthology.
I always thought that. So they said that they went to Howard Sackler to write this movie because he worked on the first script,
Uncredited. Yeah.
uncredited, and was responsible for the Indianapolis speech. But I always thought that was John Milius who wrote the Indianapolis speech. So I don't really understand. What am I wrong about that?
I mean, I thought we said that too. I mean, this is also just like you're just reading the reporting about this
Yeah,
stuff, so I'm
yeah.
not sure. But I thought Gottlieb was the one who was like, I can whip up a screenplay about the USS Indianapolis, but maybe I'm wrong. Either way, they should have made that movie. I can't believe they're not. I can't believe they're just
It's surprising it's not happening now.
that Apple's not like, here's $500 million, go make that movie.
I agree.
They probably are making it with like Javier Bardem and Emma Stone.
That sounds awesome.
Why? But neither of them would be U.S. naval officers
I don't. That's,
at that
that's
time.
Apple doesn't care. They need two people
You
for
want
the photo.
because it's a woke Jaws prequel.
They just need famous people in their photos.
The first Spaniard commanding a United States aircraft.
We'll work around that later. We'll CGI it.
Did I ever tell you guys the story about the Portuguese man of war? You know what that is? It's a giant jellyfish. My uncle used to tell me this story. He served in Korea, and he's talking about how there was where he served in the area near the Philippines where he was serving. There were these giant jellyfish, and you would have to like try to never go in the water near them because they could kill you because they were so powerful. And I always thought it would be an amazing aspect of this version of the story where you'd be beset on all sides by sharks and giant jellyfish. And like, there would be like a lot of kill opportunities in this world instead of just like some kids on a dinghy stuck in the middle of Amity Island where like, it's
So you
kinda,
think there's a jellyfish movie inefficiency right now?
I think Yeah, they look cool.
We're not taking enough chances.
They have no
is
soul.
the big thing.
Well, I remember when they made Anaconda, and I'm like, why are they doing this? This sounds stupid. I've seen it 10 times.
Yeah.
There's going to be
It's
a new
great.
one on Christmas. Paul Rudd and Jack Black. They're remaking Anaconda.
It's on the Rewatchables list.
You know, there is a secret sequel connective tissue thing here, because isn't the Indianapolis the boat that drops the bomb off for the Air Force in World War II, right? Weren't they bringing the bomb to Japan?
That sounds right.
So like Oppenheimer could have ended pan right.
That's great.
The USS Indianapolis is leaving, and then
That's the
Chris
sequel
Nolan
for
just
Oppenheimer.
makes
Chris Nolan presents Jaws 5, the prequel. That's a really good idea.
Let's get him on the phone. Is this movie better with Wayne Jenkins, Danny Trejo, Doris Burke, Sam Jackson, Nell Byron Mayo, Bernie Cousins, Tony Romo, Harling Mays, Chris Collinsworth, Daniel Plainview, Longlegs, or Wilford Brimley in The Firm? Oh no.
I was really just thinking mostly because of his his priors with doing A Goddamn Shark Ate Me. Well, that's Dave Chappelle, but Sam Jackson just being like, Mayor Larry got reelected. Like the one guy who's just commenting on actual civic politics.
That's good.
Yeah.
That is good.
How the fuck did that guy get reelected?
Do we need to bump any of these people from the list?
We haven't done Harling Mays.
And Barney Cousins, do they need to go? Need to add some new ones for the summer.
Yeah, we'll mix it up.
Maybe if we add Jaws 2 Lady.
Jaws 2 Lady.
Put with Jaws 2 Lady. Have just cover guests.
I do think Doris Burke doing just the last lines of dialogue that Brody has,
Oh yeah.
where he's like, all right, you big bastard. Come on. I've got something for you now. That's it. Attaboy. Right here, Mr. Jaws. Open
Mr. Jaws.
wide and
Mr.
say,
Jaws. We see you, Mr. Jaws.
And Mike, Mr. Jaws is back. And he's hungrier than ever.
Bonjour, Monsieur Jaws. DB.
Attaboy, Mr. Jaws.
Just one Oscar. Who gets it? Let's just give this to John Williams and
Do
move
you
on.
think- do you
Because he has
think,
130 of them.
Sorry, never mind. I was just gonna be like, what if Shaq was like, Jaws 2 couldn't hang in my generation? These new sharks aren't physical. The way Jaws was.
The ocean was so much stronger back then.
We never took days off back when Jaws was.
That doesn't even make sense.
It was so much harder to get those swimmers back then. Probably unanswerable questions.
They should do Inside the NBA, but for movies like this. Like immediately when the movie ends, you cut to Chuck and Kenny, and they break down the
Chuck's
movie
like, I didn't
for
watch it. Shaq's just like, it was so much harder to make movies when I was. Kenny's running to do a diagram of the woman
That's
lighting
great.
herself on fire.
That would be amazing if
And
that's
it's always there. It's always
when they
the last
didn't get
episode.
basketball. That's just what the show
Yeah.
became. Inside the NBA crossed with pop culture.
We couldn't get clips for the NBA, but we do have the Warner Brothers movie library.
Oh, I would watch that.
Yeah, they could do Angel.
Wow, I don't know if I wanted Kenny around that one.
Probably
Back in my day, you could be a hooker by night.
and you could finish your schoolwork the next day.
These girls.
You can multitask. Nobody was judging
None of
you.
these girls multitask anymore.
Really good episode of this show.
All right, probably unanswerable questions.
I mean, who is funding? I guess it was Len, right? Funding Mayor Vaughn's campaign. Like, is that how he won?
Yeah, that's like just Len being like, you work for
He
me.
bought the election.
I had what did the final 3 of the Miss Amity contest look like? So we know Tina took it. Who was the runner-up? And did she hang out in the group, or was it an outsider?
Yeah.
And where was that?
Or is Tina kind of like a mafioso who's just like, no one else is running for this? Like,
were the town folk there? Like, can you imagine living in town? Like, what are you doing tonight? It's a Miss Amity contest.
I can imagine.
Get to watch 17-year-old girls walking around trying to become Miss Amity.
Hey, I'm gonna go to Miss Amity. Whatever you do, don't kiss my son. I'll know.
Miss Amity contest, they have punch.
It's a really good point. This is, this trope.
They don't have these in real life.
But
there's no Miss Amity in
Isn't
real
this
life.
prom queen?
But this trope is repeated in I Know What You Did Last Summer because Sarah Michelle Gellar's character
Oh, that's a
wins
great
at the
point.
beginning of that, which is an
Right.
homage, I think, to this scene.
We haven't done I Know What You Did, right?
No.
Martin C. Brody's
Blew past that
1975
one.
Man of the Year award.
Mhm.
Because you see it, they show it.
Yeah. Was that
Who finished second? Did they go to the award ceremony? Were they just like, I have no chance this year? Brody killed the shark.
I mean, after
saved-
Jaws 1, Martin Brody would be Sully. He would just be
That's
like, that
what
guy
I
would
was
never,
saying earlier.
Yeah.
uh,
All he got was this little shitty plaque.
but there's
because
no
He beat Larry Vaughn Jr. as the Man of the Year.
this is a kind of a hot take.
Yep.
There's no proof of what Brody did.
Okay.
Oh, he comes back and he's like, yeah, I killed, but everybody died, but I killed the shark.
No,
No, well,
iPhones, no cameras,
think
no photographs.
Hooper's like, yeah, it was incredible. He
Yeah, but these two fucking crackpots who are out on the big ocean going sea crazy.
Yeah, but
You know?
the shark goes away for 3 years. The second he gets back.
So sharks leave. Sharks swim away.
That's great timing.
No, I think the point is how crazy the murder of the shark is. He's
Mhm.
the only witness of it.
right. He shoots a
He comes back, and then it came
Yeah,
back, and
it's
then
a tall
finally
tale.
he had this thing in his mouth, and I aimed it, and I nailed it.
I
and
said,
they were
smile,
like,
you
cool,
son of a
Marty.
bitch. And he
Yeah.
smiled. Yeah.
They
Is
were
it
like, cool,
possible?
Marty, you want a drink?
Is Jaws just is the entire Jaws series just a Martin Brody fever dream?
It's
Is
like
he just
American
making it all
Psycho.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's Ellen thinking about what she wishes he
Yes.
was doing. Yeah.
Yes. On a sleepless night in Amity,
Yeah.
Ellen Brody imagines the husband she wishes she
It's like
had.
John Updike.
That's
Yeah.
right. It's beautiful.
Do you think American Psycho happened?
in real life?
No, in the
is
movie.
Is it a fantasy?
I do think it's a fantasy. Yeah.
The chainsaw gives it away when he whips the chainsaw like 12 stories down,
And it works.
kills her, and then we don't know how
Why
he
are
cleaned
you
it up.
stepping on the American Psycho Rewatchables app?
Should we do American Psycho?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's a rewatchable?
It's like a beloved classic.
I don't
at
know
this
if it's a
point.
rewatchable, but it's beloved.
Do you think Inception
I
happens?
might have watched it this week.
Like how much of Inception?
I wish
do you
it
think
didn't. Ayo. Yes.
I think some of it happens and some of it doesn't.
Any other unanswerables?
No, how is Larry still mayor?
What piece of memorabilia would you want or not want from this movie? For Sean, it's clearly the gasoline can.
I would display it prominently.
I would want the Martin C. Brody 1975 Man of the Year in Amity trophy.
That's good.
That'd be a
Not
good
the
one.
barrel.
No, I'd want the trophy.
After I would do the barrel, the planter
Okay.
barrel.
Coach Finstock Award, best life lesson. Maybe believe the guy who was a prophetic hero 3 years before that something might be going on again. Just maybe trust him for a split second.
Now that 10 teenagers watched him murder another shark, his second shark murder,
Yeah.
he's confirmed.
It's a shame. I gotta watch The Revenge again and find out if there was ever any like legacy repair going on for
He should
him.
be on the cover of Time magazine.
Yeah.
This would be like after OKC won the title, Presti made a deal and the fans were like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about this Presti. Best double feature choice is probably Jaws.
I'm gonna go Jaws Revenge.
I'll go with Jaws. I'd go Jaws 1 and then Jaws 2.
I think Jaws The Revenge makes Jaws 2 look a little bit better.
This made me, because there's been a lot of good shark movies. And I was thinking about this because, Jurassic Park's coming out this week and there's like no good dinosaur movies, but why are these shark movies like always work?
Because you can kind of hide it a little bit. Like a lot of it is tension,
I think people have like 6 basic fears, and this is one of them: to be in the water, and being unable to fight off something.
This
that's
is an
in the water.
unanswerable question. You're living in Amity
Yeah.
after Jaws.
Would you still live there?
How long before you get in the water again?
That's how Jaws 2 should have started. It should have been like, this is the first day everyone's kind of decided to get back in the
The
water.
first summer we're back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably pretty soon, I would guess.
For you?
Not for me personally, but I feel like people are like,
it's not going to happen.
Not going to happen to me.
I mean, you're talking about a guy who used to ride a motorcycle without a helmet, like 70 miles an hour in the Merritt Parkway. I
Sure.
didn't have a lot of fear.
You rode a motorcycle?
Yeah.
You had a motorcycle?
Yeah.
When was that?
When I was a kid.
Like a Harley?
No, not like a Harley.
okay.
Like a Honda?
Yeah, I had like one of those fast Hondas.
That's cool.
Without a helmet.
It was cool until I crashed it.
Yeah.
You're like Bob Dylan. What the hell?
I didn't have a lot of fear back then.
Is
Now I
this
have
like a
ton of
known
fear.
story?
I have a ton of fear now.
About driving?
No, just in general. You get older, you just fear stuff.
This is like your superhero origin story. You like crashed this
Yeah.
motorcycle and you're like, I'll be a sports columnist.
What if I took
Someday
movie
I'll do a
quotes and put it
podcast.
against the NBA draft?
Someday I'll recap Jaws 2. Figure out what the gasoline
Okay, Bill,
lady was doing.
we're just going to take you to the hospital.
Who won
You'll
the movie?
see.
Who won the movie?
Roy Scheider.
Roy Scheider.
Yeah.
I had Universal.
Oh, that's a good answer. Yeah. Not Gino Schwark.
No, he did not win the movie.
John Shark? No.
Who do you have?
I would have said Gino. He saved this dog baby. You know, this thing was headed for
Didn't lead to anything. though.
Yeah, you know what though? I kind of also wish
Sure,
he
to, like, some
hadn't.
TV
he directed
gigs.
Supergirl in 1984 with Helen Slater.
Oh yeah, love Helen Slater.
Fair is fair.
Legend of Billie Jean, brother. One day we'll do it. Keith Gordon, a great Keith Gordon performance in The Legend of Billie Jean.
You're not invited to that one.
Good
You
luck,
won't
guys.
like that
Good luck
movie.
with that one.
Craig, what'd you think of Jaws 2?
Sure, in a vacuum, pretty good. Like if this movie was the first one to come out, I think it would be a quality shark slasher movie. You could make the case that if Jaws 1 didn't happen and this was the first one, that there's actually a more like a larger Jaws franchise.
Oh, that might be what's holding it back.
You know what I mean?
Is that the original
The
is so
Spielberg
special?
quality of it made it so everybody didn't want anymore. But if Jaws 2 was the first one, maybe there's now 15 Jaws movies and it's like Final Destination in the water and it's a foundational slasher franchise.
FD Shark. When are we
Yeah.
gonna get that?
That's a great idea. I'm ready for that right now.
How have they not had a shark attack in Final Destination yet?
That's what Jaws could have been.
What were your after hours thoughts while we have you?
Yeah, I had never seen it. I had barely even heard of that movie. And I was kind of in awe at how good it was and just how tight and smart and funny and well acted. I mean, it's really, really good. And it didn't make a ton of money. I had never really heard of it.
Do you think if it had just been Michael Keaton, it would have been a very famous movie?
Oh, it was supposed to be Keaton?
No, we were just talking about because Griffin Dunn is a really good
there's no
actor, but he's not that
huge stars
famous.
in it.
Yeah.
No, I didn't even. What else has he done? I haven't listened to the pod yet.
American Werewolf in
Werewolf.
London. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But did Scorsese specifically want him? Was that?
Yeah, he was a producer.
He brought it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it feels kind of watching it. I was like, this feels so small and random for who I know Scorsese to be now, which is kind of fun. It's not really, in my opinion, I don't think it's about a whole lot. It's just like a crazy night in New York. And it's kind of fun to see a prestige director do something like that and just have fun for 90 minutes. And it's not some big grand story of the rise and fall of a Jordan Belfort or Henry Hill or something like that. It's just like, yeah, it's Scorsese cooking for 90 minutes in New York in the 80s. It's fun.
We said that on the pod that we just wish directors did that more.
Yeah.
Like
Blowout. with
fucking
Brian De
movies.
Palma. I
Yeah.
just like stuff like that.
CR, you missed after hours because you were away.
I was.
Can I also
People were
say
upset. Yeah.
the one big thing that stuck out about just like the time people lived in the after hours era was, man, people were just really comfortable with strangers.
Yeah, you just pick up the phone.
Every scene is him running up to a new person and they're like, come on in.
Right.
What do you need, a phone? Yeah, no problem. Come on up.
It's a really
3
good
in the
point.
morning.
Yeah. That's how you still operate, though.
Anybody wants to knock on my door? I got actually.
What's your address? Just give it out here.
Well, you know what's funny is the other night before we left, do you know about this TikTok trend where kids pull up and kick your door? Have you heard about that?
What?
No.
You ever heard about this?
No.
Well, they did it to my house.
No way.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. Not scary, but
What
it
do you
was
mean?
loud.
What do you mean kick your door?
They pull up to a stop, they jump out, and they like kick on your door really hard, and then run back to the car.
So
and
it's like
drive
a
away.
fucked up doorbell ditch.
Yeah, but they're like filming it, I guess, or whatever.
And they wait
So
for you
I
to
came
come
out
out.
completely nude with a machete, you know. I'm watching Jaws 2 in here.
You came out
No,
with
but it was fucked up.
a jug of gasoline.
Did this just happen?
2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Did you
First
see
I'm
the
hearing
You're
it.
kids?
probably not a big stranger guy anymore now. Yeah.
Did you see the kids drive away?
I heard him.
But they weren't filming you.
Well, no, they were. I think they filmed the kick, but they drove away before.
See, I was shooting at them like Chef Brody, or Chief Brody shooting at the bluefish. Give us your after hours thoughts really quick.
It's one of my favorite Scorsese's, one of the best New York movies ever made, and a great portrait of a crazy night out.
Did you ever have an after hours night?
Some. Not like as magical as that, but I had some late nights. Yeah,
Cigarette nights?
you could say that. Yeah,
You want to?
I wound up encased in plaster at the end. Of it.
What was the weirdest part of New York City you ended up in?
That's a good question.
You never had like a woke up in Staten Island?
No, I never
at
had
5
like
a.m.?
I've fallen asleep and woken up at the end of the F train where I'm like, oh shit.
I have done that too.
Yeah.
That's not.
Where does that end?
The beach, and then it gets really like, oh Christ!
Oh,
now I have
no.
to get out and get back on the F train. It's going to take all fucking night to get home.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
But like that,
It's like Coney
that happened
Island,
at like
right?
3 a.m. in Coney Island.
It's like the end of the Warriors.
yeah, or the beginning. If I had gotten
Right.
off that train, yeah,
That did happen to me too. That's funny you say that.
yeah,
Fiorentino?
one of the goats.
That's it?
Yeah, I mean, you guys did a great job on it. I mean, it was just
You said she was a Throw Your Life Away Hall of Famer.
she is. In this movie, she's a little intimidating. To be completely honest, she's a little unattainable. Not that she's attainable in like Last Seduction, but
Do you think she'd do good things for your life if were
Like
you to spend
currently?
time with her? Just at any time, really, in history?
yeah, I think she probably would have gotten me on the right track earlier in my career. You know, who knows what I would have gotten up to by then.
Would have kept Chris away from Pelicano.
I'm still getting over her dating the FBI agent in Pelicano.
It's awesome when stuff like that
Crazy
happens.
That's one of the craziest things I've ever heard. It's that and the girl with the gas tank. Those are the two. Those are my two legends. I've never seen such magical moves.
Thanks to Craig Horlbeck, Jack Sanders. Thanks to Ronak as well. See ya, Sean.